And anytime I've done a good amount of mushrooms, not every time it doesn't get inward, but of course with you, my brother, we knew it was going to go inward. We went with intent. It's going to go inward.
That was the goal.
And my intent was to ask the universe, help me understand this back pain that I've had for almost 7 weeks now. That is excruciating. And then some other really personal things.
One of the main things do you want to say it, or what your main, one of your main intents was about fear.
Yeah. Fear of being myself.
Fear of being yourself.
Fear of why I'm afraid to be myself in front of other people. Yeah. And what people would think about me.
Which is a solid intent.
And I didn't throughout that experience. And I think the universe has an interesting way of showing you what you need to see. And in that moment, I knew what I needed to see. And it's so interesting when you feel that intent from the universe inward tell you something and you're like, oh, that's heavy. And I know that's what I needed to think about now. And I started...
Probably the reason why you're afraid to be yourself in front of other people.
Exactly. And it got deep. And the what I was feeling in that moment, watching you run and just let go and be free. I thought in my head, I was like, I should run. I should try running. And I start running. And it's it feels good on my back, but it doesn't. As I'm running, I'm like, it doesn't really feel good. I probably shouldn't be doing this. But I ran for maybe 20 yards or so and exhausted because I'm just the allergies started kicking in. I'm cry laughing the whole time. And it's just really intense. So I stop and I'm like, wow, I'm either really out of shape or this is just really hard and my back's killing me. But I stopped running and I'm like, man, I probably look like my dad. And that's stupid. I don't want to look like my dad. And I got this weird thought of, I've thought that my entire life. I don't want to look like my dad. Ugh, I don't want to be like my dad. And just got so deep. And I don't think I've ever, I've recognized those thoughts before, but I've never really contemplated them in that way of just why don't I want to look like my dad? My dad's a beautiful man who came from black belt taekwondo or whatever. And has a great, personality and person. And a lot of people find him attractive back in his young days and still is an attractive man. It's why am I so afraid to be my dad? I'm not my dad. I'm my own person. I can look like him and be okay with it. And I started just reminisce on that thought and try to be more okay with looking like my father and dig inward. And I don't feel like I necessarily I solved it. I know what I need now.
Well, it was funny because you had made 2 comments and I, in passing, when I'm running by you, you said something I just feel like I look like dad right now. Cause I made a comment about your shirt.
Yeah.
It was the same shirt you wore yesterday. And I was whenever I close my eyes, I get this picture of the 70s or the 60s and it's you. And it's your face, and it was a million of you do, 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 do. And it was just you're such a goofball in that shirt. But there was such an energy about you that has that energy, so easy going and who cares, man, just have fun. That's the energy you embody and you embodied yesterday. And I was came up to you and you made some comments about no, I just feel like I look like dad. And you didn't say anything negative. It was I just feel like I look like dad. And I was running and I finally stopped. And when we finally met up with each other, I was I just had this vision or this thing that's hitting me. And I want you to know that you do look more like the bloodline on dad's side. You do have more of the Blaustone genes, your body structure, the way your head is shaped. So it makes a lot of sense why you have these thoughts, whenever, and I said this, I was whenever you look into a mirror, you might see a lot more Blaustone.
Yeah.
And I was and man, whether, it's not I know it's not the looks that are bothering you. It's about the path that, this Blaustone of ours that we love dearly took that, we developed a lot of religious trauma from that we've learned how to not blame. And we're learning how to not blame and not be victims to. And I was when dad was about 18, and I said this to you, I was you have told me this over and over, that all dad did was he got asked in a lost time of his life, or him in a discovery time, he got asked to go into a church, a Christian church, and went in there at his 18, 19, or however old he was, 17. And he had the vision and that was it. He had, after that, he got married and he had a family and he became a pastor. And for the rest of his life, he became part of the dogma and the chains that we call it and the gatekeeping that is Calvary Chapel Christianity. And he was only 18 or 17 when that happened. And I was like, and what happened to you when you were 17 or 18, right? It was like you started to leave that dogma.
Yeah.
I was like, so don't forget that it's like, as much as we want to like, that feeling is like living that blame, like, wow, I don't want to be this. I don't want to look like this. And it's like, well, all he did was get dragged into a church that like, I'm not here to judge anyone's spirituality. I think it's a beautiful thing. But that we talk about in this cast religious trauma. And we talk about the religious trauma that we developed from the Calvary Chapel dogma and all of that shit. And so like, I just said that. I was just like, that's not you at all.